You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast.
You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. My name is Sean Wilkie, and along with my awesome co-host, we interview the innovators in this space every week. Super excited about today's episode. Ivan, why don't you go ahead and introduce today's guests?
Hi, I'm Ivan Sack, and I'm happy to introduce Julie Legred and Becky Mosso. We're going to talk about virtual veterinary shows, and one of them is coming up this weekend, and this weekend saying that it's May 13th today. So it's going to be on the 16th and 17th. My math didn't, yeah?
Yep.
Sorry, guys, I had to calculate that, and it's a struggle. They're both co-owners of Vet Team Global Stream and co-founders of Veterinary Advancements. Julie is also an executive director of the Win Feline Foundation. She's a Human-Animal Bond Association board member, previously executive director and the president of, actually twice, of National Association of Veterinary Technicians in America. Really cool. And she is a certified veterinary technician with 35 plus years of experience. On the personal side of things, even though she grew up in Minnesota in a big city, she moved to a town of 315 people when she got married. Wow. I wonder if the population stayed the same. Julie also owns a swine genetic company that is in 13 different states and consists of over 200,000 pigs. They also grow sweet corn and peas for Green Giant. Becky, on the other side, also an executive director for Human-Animal Bond Association, holds a bachelor degree in public and nonprofit administration from the University of North Carolina. So on the personal side of things, Becky, what a lot of people don't know about her, aside from the veterinary technician, she has a second career, which she went to get a cosmetology license after high school, and actually didn't go to school to be a technician until mid-20s. So welcome to the show. Happy to have you here. What an innovative thing to have a virtual veterinary show, and what a good timing during the COVID. So welcome. Thank you for coming into the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I would like to open with a question. Why now? I maybe know why now, but was it an idea before the COVID, or this is something that inspired you prior to that, and now you said we got to do it now because this is the time? So what actually happened? Who wants to take that one?
So I guess I could take that one, and it truly started because of COVID. And I saw all of these really important events being canceled. A ton of my colleagues were losing work. We knew education, which is the most important thing in our profession, was just basically crumbling around us for the rest of the year. And it just felt like there had to be something that we could do, something that we could put together to to substitute this, to create this, to get the education out there. And so the idea stemmed from there. But for us, this is something that I think would have eventually come about either way, with or without COVID. And a lot of that for me and for this group of organizers is the fact that the biggest problem we see in the veterinary industry is that the majority of the veterinary population doesn't get to those CE meetings. They aren't going to get out and get that experience. So we saw this as a way of getting education to people. So COVID kind of inspired it, but we see this as being a bigger problem in the industry that is actually going to, stick around to bring education to people.
That's awesome. So I've been to, I don't know how many trade shows. I actually have this stupid habit. Every time I go to a trade show, I keep the badge. So I have like a whole closet of them.
Oh, wow.
It's I've gone through so many shows with my previous gig, SmartFlow, and then with IDEX, and it was quite a few. Every time they build it, and when you set up your booth and everything, and every time the second they take it down, it's amazing how in like 20 minutes they rip the whole thing apart and it's gone. And I always wonder, what are the logistics to put this stuff together? I guess you don't have to deal with those logistics with a virtual trade show, but there's a lot of intricacies that are related to this. So what are the challenges of putting together a virtual show? What are the difference? Do you still have all the speakers? Do you have the sponsors? How do you virtualize the exhibit hall? All of those things are super interesting. Can you guys answer that?
Sure. The speakers, we are overwhelmed with the amount of support and, excitement in joining us. We've got some fabulous speakers from all of the national shows, actually. Dr. Andy Rourke, Dr. Marty Becker, Temple Grandin. There's just 50 sessions that are just packed with awe, I should say, because we're just so excited that so many were able to join us. Putting this together, it's about the same. You have to ramble a bunch of people together to get the information. And since we did this so quickly, it's been a challenge getting everything in and to our platform guys so that they can build it out. The exhibit hall is pretty interactive. You can schedule appointments. All of our attendees get business type cards, so they can stop in, drop off their card if somebody's not filling the booth spot live at that point. But they are able to talk back and forth too. All the information about the exhibitors is there. They are able to supply us with brochures, images, logos, information about their company, and the time that they want to be in that booth area. So it's pretty interactive, and it's just been a very fun learning experience too. And Becky might want to fill in because she's more the platform side of things, so I'll let her take it away.
Yeah, I mean, Miss Julie did a great job. It's everything you go to a conference and see in this platform, as interactive and engaging as we could possibly make it. So each session has live Q&A with the speakers. In fact, Temple Grandin's entire session is an open Q&A on some content that is available ahead of time. There's polling questions, there's gamification. So we've really created a space where we are able to bring as much interaction as we can to create that camaraderie and to create that space where we're building up with our coworkers and getting that amazing education, but really still being interactive. In fact, it's funny, we've had some people even say, can I take a selfie with my computer screen? Because I'm totally fangirling over this person or that person who's about to be speaking. And I'm like, take your pictures. So they're already feeling engaged and involved here.
That's awesome, Becky. And so I guess where I wanted to jump in and kind of dig a little bit more into the weeds or the details is, like, 3 weeks ago, I had a conversation with somebody that organized 5 veterinary shows across North America and also one internationally. And we were having a conversation about the very same thing. Like, can we put a virtual show together? And at the end of the day, where we came back to is, this is a technology problem. This is really, the nuts and bolts of making a virtual trade show is a technology problem. So how did you pick a platform? Have you built a platform? How did you even go about coming up with the idea? Were you and Julie just sitting around one day on a Zoom call and saying, we should create a virtual vet show? Like, I'm just bewildered with how quickly you guys scrambled and got this thing off the ground and got all the speakers together. And as a technology guy, me and Ivan are both sitting back and we're both thinking, like, how are you doing this? Like, what are the tech details? So if you wouldn't mind jumping into a little bit more of the weeds, I'd really appreciate it.
Sure. So I wish I could say I gave Miss Julie that much opportunity to ask her that she was going to be a part of this. She got an email saying, or she got a text message at about 10 o'clock at night saying, hey, guess what? So I would love to start at the beginning of this, because it is important to mention that there are 2 other amazing individuals, Monique Fairchild and Jade Velasquez, are part of this organizing committee. And this truly came down to a text message conversation in the middle of the week between Monique and I, talking about the fact that these conferences were getting canceled. And I said, we should do something virtually. And she said, that's not a terrible idea, Becky. Let's talk about this. And I said, well, here's how I would picture it. She said, also not a terrible idea. Let's keep this going. And then I reached out to Miss Julie and I said, hey, what do you think about doing this? She was in Arizona at baseball camp with her boys. And she's like, sounds great. And I'm like, okay, so like 2 people have not told me I'm crazy. And we just kind of went from there. No one said this is a terrible idea. Everyone said that's a great idea, but the technology was the scary part. So I guess I'm the kind of person that just sees a goal and there has to be a way to get to it no matter what. So I spent a lot of time just searching virtual platforms and interviewing I can't believe how quickly they got back to me, I have to say, because we have, these guys are scrambling right now to provide the education. Everyone's trying, they've got Amazon, they've got these huge organizations switching over their conferences. And I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Becky. I'm a vet tech. Can I have a conference on your platform? And I have no money and no plan and no experience. And like, they still called me back. So we were able to find a platform called All in the Loop. And these guys have been absolutely amazing. They're out of the UK. And they just said, Becky, we'll do it. We can get this done. 2 weeks would be perfect. If we can have 2 weeks, we can get this built. And when they told me we can do this in 2 weeks, that was the barrier. We knew we were off and going.
And I will
That's
say
awesome.
that Becky and I do to each other. We tend to say, yes, we can do it. And we just go.
Yeah.
We're used to doing it on the fly.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That now usually in the companies that I build, there's two people. There's a visionary and there's an integrator. Visionary says let's do it, then the integrator filters that. So before you install that, sometimes it can get really crazy. And this is not a terrible idea. That's the highest that Sean gets from me. So this is how we started the podcast. I said it's not terrible. So. So we're doing this. Well, that's amazing. I do want to find out. So as being on this side of the industry for a while, for the last 7 years, not on the veterinary side, as a visitor to the conferences, how does the exhibitor experience look like? Are they like breakout rooms like in Zoom? Is there, are there certain times that people come in and say, I want to hear about your product, and they have scheduled pitches? How does that work for the exhibitors? And is there exhibit hall? How does that work?
So each exhibitor has their own little area. So people can enter their booth area and see images and ask questions. They can set times that they are actually in the booth live, and they can set, they can do it afterwards. They can connect afterwards. You can see information. So it'll take you to all of their social media platforms. It'll take you to their websites, information, videos that they have given us that they want to point those attendees to. And some of them will be there just answering questions the entire time of the conference. The look and feel is, once you click on that exhibitor, it is totally branded theirs. You won't feel like you're in a different space. It is their area, and all of the information and assets that they have are right there. And you can ask questions, schedule appointments. It's really cool to see. That's
awesome. So Becky, one for you. So you've been involved with this since the start of the idea or the ideation. A couple of things. I got like rapid fire questions. So is there still spaces for exhibitors? So if they hear this and they want to be there, can they still attend?
So probably not this year. And I think that's just honestly at the mercy of the wonderful people at All in the Loop who have been very patient with us. And they have to build out these spaces. So we're kind of at a stop, but we want to talk to whoever would be interested in this, because there is a Vet Team Global Stream 2021 date TBD. So we want to talk to them if they want to come in next year. And to Miss Julie's point on this, the exhibitor space, we are gamifying interactions with exhibitors so that there are points associated with the more interactions. And it's very customized how the exhibitors want to get back. They can do the Zoom call, they can do a chat. It's how they like it. So you set up request an appointment with me, and then the exhibitor agrees to that appointment and facilitates how it will be made. So if they want to do Zoom, great. But if they're not feeling the camera that day, they can stick to a chat.
That's awesome. It will be so interesting to see what's the engagement like, because I think that, I'm just trying to kind of picture it, and it's, when there's an event, you kind of have the concentrated place where you can go and look at the vendors. Would people sort of bring that behavior into it and say, okay, in these 2 days, I'm going to research this, and that to find out more about the products. Another thing that I don't know if you guys do it or not, but what I found, I don't know if you know about the Vet Forum. They were for the first time this year, last year, in Austin. And this is a group that creates a trade show specifically for consolidator groups. And then the vendors come in and they have this speed dating sort of scenario where you spend as a vendor, I think it was like 10 minutes per consolidated group, and you actually have your pitch. So I don't know if there's any sort of quick, rapid interactions like that with any sort of guests, if there's anything like that implemented. But I think that that would also be an interesting approach to do it.
I mean, we're really open to all these ideas because this is brand new in the space. And I think the biggest thing is we want this to be, I guess it sounds cheesy, right? But this is the people's conference. Like, we don't care what this looks like. What do you need it to look like? What do you want it to look like? It is an interesting difference, right? All of our in-person trade show conferences are basically funded by the exhibitors. We know that, right? That they're the ones that are really paying for this conference. So the conferences really have to cater to the needs of the sponsors. And we truly appreciate our sponsors and want to drive people to their spaces. And doing that in the virtual space is totally new for us. And so we're really looking, I love the idea of like a speed dating. Can we get everybody in a room and just kind of sit down, talk to those vendors? And we want to hear from our vendors and our attendees how that looks for them and what they want.
Yeah. So Becky and Julie, like from my perspective, this is truly innovative. Like this is exactly where you guys should be. You know, this is the exact type of people that we want to have conversations with around this type of innovation in our space. And Becky, one of the other questions I wanted to ask you is, you know, is this what the future of trade shows look like, in your opinion? You know, being involved from the beginning, being at all of these trade shows. Do you think that this stays around forever and some of the shows that we're used to going to change or disappear?
So I feel two ways about that. I really hope that this is not a replacement. I really want this to be a bridge. When we are talking about reaching the people who don't get to trade shows, we want to be the thing that drives them to later attend in person because they feel inspired to do so. You can't replace the camaraderie and the networking that happens at trade shows. Just that energy, right? The feeling, even if we are a bunch of introverts, we do kind of come out of our shells a little when we get to these trade shows. We wear our very best cat sweatshirts. You know, we're waiting for these moments. We need this. So I really don't want to replace it. I really want people to get confident and comfortable with learning, regardless of their role at the clinic, regardless of their credential status, and to go to these in-person events. Other side of that, I don't know what they're going to look like in the future, right? Like this is a little scary, and we know that there is going to be long-term changes because of what we've been through the last couple months. And so it'll be interesting to see how they accommodate. They've got a challenge on their hands.
That's awesome. And yeah, I think you're right. There's nothing that can replace the camaraderie on the vendor side. You know, I don't think that you can replace with anything hanging out in the same villa like we did last time in Florida, seeing Sean being drunk in the hot tub.
Right.
It's definitely an image that is questionable. But question about the race approval. Do we have race approval for the lectures? Can people do their CE using this conference?
Yes, we have race approval for all of our speakers and sessions for both veterinarians and technicians. So we're good to go there. This platform is also going to be available for a full year afterwards. So you can go back and hear it again, or you can see what you missed. It's just incredible how technology allows us to do certain things, and I am so excited.
That's so awesome. And can people go back and review the lectures and get CE approval through that if they wanted to do so?
I really think that it depends on their state boards and everything, because we're so different in that respect. Some will allow you to have non-interactive CE or a certain amount of that. Others insist on the interactive CE, and for sure 14 hours of interactive CE is guaranteed on this race. The other 50 hours are race approved, but just depending on what your state allows you to do as far as virtual, that's up to that state.
Ladies, I mean, I've got to totally commend you guys for hustling and doing this. It's so cool. It's so innovative. What's the biggest challenge been to get to the point where you're at today?
I think for me, it was hand stuffing all 500 and soon to be 1,000 registration conference swag bags that we're sending out. And then possibly the debt I now owe my husband for helping me. I think that probably is it for me.
Really feel like Christmas in a huge family, trying to send all the presents.
He volunteered to do that. You know, my boys have done that for other things that I've put them to the task of
So you're a delegator, Julie, is what you're saying. Yeah, I see. That's good. That's good.
Becky's a doer. You're the delegator.
That's good. We got the visionary and the integrator here. I see.
There we go.
So another question, Becky. How did you? I mean, I know you host a podcast, and like I've listened to it before, so it's super cool to have you on our show. But how did you guys get the word out? Like, you've got 1,000 people virtually attending. How'd you get the word out? And then one more question is, what are you most worried about?
We got the word out through all of the amazing people who are in support of this conference. So Jade Velasquez actually founded Veterinary Support Staff Unleashed on Facebook. You guys have probably heard of that. Also amazing innovator there. And so she really networked there. And then we have had several corporate entities and several state associations support this conference. Think about our folks out in Hawaii, right? They're fully in support of this because even on their best day, it costs a lot of money when there's not COVID to get over to the States to watch. So that's the networking. What I'm the most worried about is everyone just having the experience I hope that they have. In my head, this is amazing. In my head, this is just a beautiful thing. I really hope it comes out as meaningful as it will be to other people as I hope that it is. I'm the most worried about that.
Well, that's awesome. Guys, it's been incredible. We are running out of time, and I'm worried that Sean will ask another question that consists of 4 within it. So I'll ask the 2 last ones. Is there any TED Talk, video, YouTube video, book that you read and were inspired recently or watched and inspired recently that you want to recommend to our listeners?
So I'm actually going to recommend Brené Brown's new podcast. Just because if you're listening to podcasts, you probably listen to others. And anything Brené Brown has really inspired me. I think over the last 2 years, I've read all of her books 4 times and has really actually helped me be comfortable being vulnerable and going out in a space and doing something like this. So I think for me, it's anything Brené Brown.
Hats off. So Ivan said he wanted to ask the last 2 questions, and then he pointed to me and wants me to ask the last one. So whatever. You just got to get organized over there, my friend. Julie, question for you. We always like to interview the innovators in the space. Do you have somebody that you would recommend that we have on the show?
So Catherine Haskins and Brenda Andreessen have the Bridge Club. They have been around for over a year now and have really taken the veterinary space to a new level of, discussing things in a group and interactively. They also are in the pet parent space now. I think that has just come about in the last month or so, and they've had great response and feedback from the public side of things. So our pet owners are asking for information, and they are giving it to them and allowing the veterinarians and technicians to participate in that level and to introduce them to the entire veterinary team. And there's a lot of new telemedicine companies out there. You've already interviewed John Dillon. There's Petsy now, BabbleBark. All those are awesome. So if you haven't done that already, I highly recommend talking to those individuals because I think they're each doing things a bit differently, but they're all making an impact.
Thank you so much for listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. If you want to hear about our new episodes, please follow us on any social media channel. Also, you can check out our website at veterinaryinnovationpodcast.com. See you next week.